What's up, guys? Welcome back to the EMPWR Podcast. I'm Sam, and today I'm going to talk all things about my fitness journey, my nutrition journey, and things I wish I knew when starting out that I know today. I feel like I'm so thankful for the barriers and the challenges that I overcame the past 5 to 7 years, but there are so many things I know now that I wish I had known when I first started that would have helped me get to where I'm at without having to go through those hard times. So hopefully today I can share some wisdom, some education, some findings that might help you guys when it comes to how to navigate your own fitness and nutrition journey. It's so hard too because there's so many different topics that I want to talk about and so many things that I could say, and I'm still learning every day, but I'm going to try to condense all of this less than an hour. So hopefully you will find some good nuggets of gold in here. Okay, so the way I'm going to handle this episode, kind of navigate, is break it into 3 different sections. So nutrition, fitness, and then kind of like mindset consistency, because I feel like when you have the right mindset, you have the right tools and pattern, it's going to create good success. So think of this as like the ultimate equation to finding success in your own health journey. So I feel like a lot of us, when we start our fitness journey, it's like, okay, let's get into the gym. But honestly, before we even get into the gym, I want you to think more nutrition, right? So it all starts with nutrition. Honestly, I would say the vast majority of it is nutrition, because if you want a certain physique, a lot of that has to do with the ratio of muscle mass versus body fat percentage. So dialing in your nutrition to really help fuel you. And it's not even like an aesthetic standpoint, like aesthetics are great, but just the way you feel from really fueling yourself nutritionally, you're going to have a better performance when it comes to doing the work in the gym from the fitness side. So when we talk about nutrition, the first thing I want to hit is prioritizing whole foods versus processed foods. So when I think back to when I started my fitness journey, nutritionally, that was really kind of when things clicked for me. So what I want you to think about is cutting out the processed foods and prioritizing whole foods. So when I cut out seed oils and these artificial ingredients that are found in a lot of processed foods like chips and cookies and a lot of the things you find in the inner part of the grocery store, when I cut that out, I really saw the inflammation go down. I mean, my skin started getting better, just like overall my weight. Like I think I dropped honestly a few pounds and saw that inflammation in my stomach go down. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay, this is clicking. I just need to really make this a lifestyle. And here's the thing, it doesn't have to be all day, every day, right? Like I am such a believer in I say 90-10 lifestyle, to be honest. Like 90% of the time, dial it in, like choose foods that are whole foods, nutrient dense. And then 10% of the time, if you want to treat yourself, do it, right? Like life's too short to not have those moments that bring you joy, whatever that may be. For me, it's honestly like Chick-fil-A with my kids every once in a while. They enjoy it, I enjoy it, so why not? Also too, when we think about whole foods, macros are important, right? Like they're going to provide the carbs, the proteins, the fats your body needs, but we also have to think about micronutrients. So fiber is a big one. So when I started eating more leafy greens and vegetables and adding that to my plate, not only was I fuller for longer when I used that with my protein, whether that was chicken or whatever, and some carbs, sweet potatoes, but my digestion improved greatly. Another thing that took me a hot second to get on the train with was meal prepping. So I am such a believer in meal prep. I think that it saves time, it helps keep you on track, and it's also going to literally give you the foods that you know your body needs every single day without questioning it. So something that I do is my 3-2 rule. If you follow me on Instagram, you've definitely heard me talk about this. When I say the 3-2 rule, I mean 2 proteins. So that can be chicken, tuna, salmon, fish, beef, turkey, some kind of protein, and then 2 complex carbs. So sweet potatoes, rice, and then 2 vegetables. You could do Brussels sprouts, broccoli, mixed vegetables, but that way you have a variety of things to kind of change up throughout the week. So I feel like I have a lot of moms that follow me that are on the go, but even if you're not a mom and you're just very career oriented and always on the go, I feel like snacks can be a downfall because it's like, oh, I don't have time to prep something, or even the meal prep that I took to like take with me in the car. So Snacks was kind of like my downfall in the beginning when I started my nutrition journey. I just don't think I was choosing the right things. Like if you go to a gas station, I was choosing maybe a bar that had some ingredients in it that maybe weren't great versus like the hard-boiled eggs or protein box that you could find at a gas station or Starbucks. So the key I would say here is to pack your own snacks wherever you go. So some of my favorite snacks are chopsticks, hard-boiled eggs. You can even do like packaged tuna, a protein shake, obviously like a clean one if you can find it, a protein bar. But packing these things on the go is definitely going to set you up for success, whether that's going to work or traveling. So again, it's more than just the calorie count when looking at the foods that we're taking in. The quality matters, and that's something that really clicked with me over the last 3 to 5 years, and honestly has made me feel better and perform better, which is ultimately helping me get to my goals. So again, while macros are super important, micronutrients are also important. So it's good to look at specifically whole foods that have other micronutrients like fiber or potassium or other minerals and vitamins. So when you think about a banana, yes, it's carb heavy, but it has a lot of potassium that's going to do a lot of good to your body. I want to touch on the artificial ingredients thing too, because you're probably thinking, okay, where do I start? Because, there could be a lot of different ingredients and a lot of different things I would need to cut out. So start small. Like if there's one thing that you consume a day that okay, this probably doesn't have the best ingredient list in here, try to find an alternative for that one item. So I always say my coffee drinkers, look at the creamer, look at the back of the label, look at the ingredients and see what's in there. I think that's a great place to start. So if you see artificial ingredients in there, maybe it's, cane sugar or it has gums in there, look for a brand that doesn't have gums, that's sweetened with honey instead, and just make that switch. So start with the creamer, do that for a couple of months, and then maybe look in your pantry, look in your fridge, see what you use every day that you can find an alternative to. Okay, so next let's talk about macros and calories that you're taking in every single day. So I feel like macros can feel sometimes so overwhelming because there's so much information out there. But now what I know, if I could just go back to my old self a few years ago and say, here's what you need to know to get started, like this is what I'm sharing with you guys. So in the beginning, focus on just protein. I feel like it's so overwhelming when it comes to carbs and fats, but if you focus on protein and then you focus on targeting that specific calorie count that your body needs to function every day, or that calorie count that you need to hit to, achieve your goals. It could be a deficit if you need to lose some body fat. If you focus on those two, usually the rest falls into place. So a question to ask yourself if you're having a hard time losing weight or maybe just getting to your goals is, are you eating enough? And I know it sounds like a simple question to answer, but a lot of the times with the clients I've worked with and even myself years ago, I just was not eating enough. So let's think about it like this. When you're not giving your body the calories it needs over a certain amount of time, okay, it's going to go into starvation mode, meaning it's recognizing the fact that it's not getting enough calories it needs to function every single day. So it's going to automatically slow your metabolism down, which means you're not going to be burning as many calories as you would be if you were eating enough and fueling yourself every single day. And it's going to store anything and everything that it is getting. It's going to make it a lot harder to lose the body fat that you might want to lose. When you're giving your body the appropriate amount of calories it needs to function, your metabolism is going to be higher, you're going to feel better, you're going to perform better and think better. Listen, at the end of the day, you have to trust your body because your body trusts you. So when you're fueling yourself every single day, giving it the calories it needs, that's naturally going to raise your metabolism. It's going to make you feel better and perform better and think better every single day. If you're treating your body well, your body will treat you well. Like I said, macros can feel very overwhelming. So if you're just getting started, I would focus on protein. I would focus on a good calorie count. So you can use a macro calculator. I actually have one in my app, but finding a good calorie goal every single day and being able to plug that in an app is going to really help you get to your goals. And you can do the same thing with just protein. So when it comes to protein, kind of my rule is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 140 pounds, I would say try to get in 140 grams of protein. Now, Is that going to happen every day? Not always. Sometimes it's really hard to get in that much protein. So I would say 100 grams minimum is a good goal. So as far as tracking apps, MyFitnessPal is a really good one. That's the one that I use every single day to track my protein. It has a lot of different foods that you probably eat every single day that are easy to pull in. And I know you're probably thinking, wow, a gram of protein per pound of body weight, that is a lot. And it can feel overwhelming in that sense. But I feel like the more you practice and just think of creative ways to add protein in your diet every single day, the easier it is to hit. So if you're new to starting out your protein journey, I would say add something in the morning to your coffee, whether that's collagen, peptides, or a scoop of protein, and automatically, like off the bat, you're going to be getting some protein in, which is really good. I saw in the Q&A I did on Instagram, there were so many questions on protein. It's a big guy, so I'll answer more in the Q&A. A lot of the questions too from the Q&A were around supplements. So here's the thing. Do you need supplements? Not necessarily. I think that prioritizing whole foods, you can get a lot of the nutrients there, but I'm going to share just a few supplements that I think that if you're open to adding would be helpful. So first off, a protein powder. I don't think that's a bad idea to supplement with either a protein shake or a protein bar. I do that every single day. It's just going to help you get to your protein goals. Obviously, make sure that the ingredient list is clean. That's going to be really helpful for you and your body. The next thing I would say is magnesium. Here's the thing. A vast majority of the population is deficient in magnesium. So that's going to help with your sleep, muscle recovery, digestion, just overall health. The next supplement I would focus on is creatine. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm a big believer in creatine just when it comes to performance and cognitive function. I would start with probably around 3 grams every single day and then work your way up to 5 grams, but that's another great one to add in. I think having a good gut health drink is good. So whether that's a greens or a prebiotic, probiotic, that's going to really help give your gut what it needs to be in its most thriving state. At the end of the day, supplements help support nutrition. They're not going to replace it. So I think getting your blood work done and seeing where you're deficient is going to be smart to figure out, okay, maybe I need to add in iron or vitamin D, because here's the thing, we're all bio-individual, we're all different. So what works for me might not work for you. Okay, so those would be probably like my top key things to focus on when it comes to nutrition. Obviously, there's so much that I could unpack that I'm not sharing today, which hopefully I'll share more and more episodes. But I think if there was a few things to focus around nutrition, that's where I would start. So let's talk about fitness now. This episode of the EMPWR Podcast is brought to you by Blokes Enjoy Wellness, my go-to for all things health, blood work, and hormone support. Okay, let's talk hormones, because if you're constantly feeling off, there's a good chance they're playing a very overlooked role. And trust me, I've been there, just feeling exhausted no matter how much sleep I got, dealing with bloating that made no sense, and honestly just feeling like my body wasn't working with me. And that's why I love Blokes Enjoy Wellness. And one of my favorite phrases is test, don't guess. And they make it so simple to get real answers. Their hormone panel helps you understand what's going on beneath the surface. Whether it's high cortisol, estrogen dominance, or just sluggish thyroid function, you're testing and you're not guessing. Plus, their science-backed supplements are formulated to actually make a difference with targeted support for PMS, stress, metabolism, and overall hormonal balance. And we put so much effort into our workouts and nutrition, but if your hormones are out of whack, it can feel like you're spinning your wheels. Blokes Enjoy gives you the tools to work with your body, not against it. So if you're tired of feeling off and want to start truly feeling your best, Blokes Enjoy Wellness makes it easy. Head to choosejoy.co and use code SAMCFITPOD for 50% off your first order. Feel better, live longer. It all starts here. Obviously, I've been active my whole life, but when I look at the body composition I have today, it's very different than it was 5 years ago, even though I was active and lifting weights. And at the end of the day, it's because I'm lifting heavier now. So if there's one thing I have to say to you when it comes to fitness and strength training is, ladies, do not be afraid to lift heavy. I feel like there's this fear that if we lift heavy weights, we're going to get bulky, and we have this image in our head, right? I also feel like from a societal standpoint, we've been brought up to think that like lifting heavy weights is just like a thing for men, when in reality, a lot of us want that like lean, toned, defined look, you're going to get that with lifting heavier weights. It's going to really sculpt, build the muscle mass you want. And with proper nutrition, it's going to decrease that body fat, which is really going to allow those muscles to pop through and create that defined look. Question I get all the time is, well, how heavy should I be lifting? So here's the thing. You don't have to be lifting crazy amounts of weight, but you want to be lifting at a certain weight that is going to be challenging enough that's going to take you to the point of failure. So you always want, whatever sets you're doing, you always want the last rep or 2 reps to be enough of a challenge to where you question if you can even get through it. So if you're doing a shoulder press, like that last rep is going to take a good 3 seconds to get up there. And honestly, sometimes, a lot of the time actually, I won't even be able to do my last rep. That's how you know you're at a point of failure. So what's that doing in your muscles? So what that is doing is breaking down the tissue in your muscle. And with proper recovery and nutrition and fueling yourself, it's going to repair, but it's going to come back stronger. And that's when it's going to be building muscle mass. So unlike fat tissue, muscle tissue is active tissue. So it's continuously consuming energy. So when it comes to lifting weights and strength training, which is going to be producing more muscle mass, you're going to be burning more calories at a resting rate. So again, I feel like we have this fear of becoming bulky, and I remember years ago, I had that fear. And honestly, even up until a few years ago when I really started challenging myself. But what I realized is that like the little 5-pound dumbbells I was lifting was not getting me to where I wanted. So I was like, you know what do I have to lose? I'm just going to go in here, start lifting heavier weights, start utilizing the barbell and just see where this goes. And what I found was I was not getting bulky, but I was really creating that physique that I had always wanted by just creating more muscle mass. Here's the thing. A lot of the women that you see on social media, whether they're CrossFitter athletes or high rocks athletes, other sports, they're working at that for years to create that certain physique. And they have to be that strong to maintain their sport and get through it efficiently. But it takes a lot of work. I mean, you have to be eating a lot of calories. You have to be supplementing a lot. You have to be lifting heavy, but very heavy over an extended amount of time. So it's actually really hard to do to put muscle mass on. It's a lot easier for men to do that because they have more testosterone than women too. So if you're wondering, okay, well, where's my body fat percentage or where's my muscle mass percentage? So there's a lot of different scans you can do. I would recommend an InBody or a DEXA scan. Some scales that you have at home have that as well to be able to calculate. But I think being able to get a good baseline when you're starting out to see, okay, here's where my body fat percentage is at. Here's where my muscle mass percentage is at. And then you can test every 3 to 6 months and see what progress you've made. Let's talk about cardio. Do you need to do cardio every single day to lose weight? No. Is it helpful when it comes to metabolic health and getting your steps in? Yes. But if you're doing cardio for an hour to 2 hours every single day, not lifting the weights maybe you could be lifting, and your nutrition's not dialed in, you're making it a little bit harder on yourself. And I'm saying that because that used to be me. I used to do countless amount of cardio and not get the results I wanted to see. So cardio is a tool. It's not a solution to your everyday fitness journey. So when it comes to how many steps should you be getting in every single day, I think 10,000 steps is a really great goal. Some days that might be hard to hit, and that's okay. Try to look at it from like a week span. And if you work at home and you're like, I don't have time to get out and just go step around, I think maybe getting like a walking pad, you can get those on Amazon, put underneath your desk. That's going to allow you to get more steps in, or just take breaks during the day. That's always helpful. So one question I got was, how many days a week do I do cardio? I'm in training season, so right now it looks a little bit different for me, but if I'm not in training season, I try to do cardio 3 to 5 times a week, but I'm not going to be like killing myself in those cardio sessions. I like to do, because I'm a runner, I like to do like an interval session. I'll do like an easy run of a few miles, 3 to 5 miles, and then I'll do like a longer run on the weekend. And then sometimes if I'm like, hey, I want a little extra sweat, after my workout, I'll do 10 to 15 minutes on the Stairmaster. But again, like I'm not in the gym every single day for an hour doing some type of cardio, because if anything, I want to put that energy into my lifting session. That way I'm not too fatigued. All right, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to fitness is making sure that you're getting in a rest day. This comes from the queen of not wanting to do rest days. I promise you, they are more helpful than you think. So when you're in the gym doing your lifting sessions, you need time for your muscles to recover. So having a rest day is super important. It's going to give your body a day to rest. A rest day doesn't mean that you don't have to move. I like to do like a light walk around the neighborhood. Sometimes I'll go on the Stairmaster for a low impact session, but I like to do a lot of recovery and like mobility things like stretching. Sometimes I'll do yoga. I'll do the cold tub, sauna, just all things that I know are going to help support my recovery. So what I want you to get into your head is don't think about a rest day as slacking. Think about a rest day as healing. So the one thing I want you to realize when it comes to the fitness side of things is that it's not always easy. Whether you're starting from the beginning or you're at your peak, there are going to be days where you don't want to go into the gym and you don't want to lift or you don't want to run or whatever it is you're doing for movement, you don't want to do. It's going to be hard. Even yesterday in my own training session, I said out loud, I can do this. I can get through this, because I was testing my limits. But that's where growth happens. It doesn't happen when you're in your comfort zone. It happens when you push yourself out of your comfort zone and test your limits. All right, the third area I want to discuss is around consistency and mindset. So consistency is key. You can have a plan set in place. Give it time. I promise you, with the right tools, with the hard work, you will see success. For me, when I kind of like found my plan, I put it into place, really started being consistent with my workouts and nutrition. I mean, it took me a good solid 10 months to a year to get to a point where I was like, wow, I've made some big changes. So it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. But I think throughout that process and that journey, there's things that you can do every single day to help you get there when it comes to laying out your outfit for your workout the night before or setting out your supplements the day of. I mean, that's something that I do is like lay out my outfit. I will fill up my water bottle with my electrolytes and my BCAAs for my workout. I'll set up my greens for the next day. Just like having that way you can wake up in the morning and it's right there and you're one step ahead. It's always really helpful. So part of my fitness and nutrition journey was my priorities changing too. I wasn't going out to drink and party like I used to. I was really prioritizing sleep and not going to late dinners. And here's the thing, if you want to do that every once in a while, that's fine. But when it comes to consistency, like you have to kind of set those boundaries. And sometimes that takes uncomfortable conversations or even maybe, I hate to say it, but like cutting people out of your life that you know aren't making a positive impact. And for me, it was removing a lot of social things that involved a lot of alcohol and maybe people that weren't necessarily supporting me in the most positive way. And throughout this process, you have to celebrate the small wins. So I know you might not want to be where you want, right, in 3 months or 6 months or whatever that may be, but you have to have an opportunity and just look back and see where you started. So whether that's journaling or progress photos, being able to just like take a moment and look back at where you started and just say, wow, I'm thankful for this, or look at this win, right? Whether that's fitness or nutrition, being able to just show yourself grace and celebrate those tiny baby wins along the process is going to create a more positive atmosphere overall. So when it comes to these goals, here's the thing, there doesn't have to be an end date. I feel like I'm at a really good place when it comes to my fitness journey, my nutrition journey, but I'm still setting goals and trying to get to new places. So I would say give yourself 3 months, right? Whether that's losing body fat, trying to dial in nutrition, get some muscle gain. In 3 months, see where you're at, make new goals for another length of time. But here's the thing, there doesn't have to be an end goal. I still at this point don't know everything. I'm not doing everything. I'm still working at certain things. Okay, so now let's get into a little bit of a Q&A. So I pulled these questions from you guys on my Instagram. So these are all questions that are directly from y'all. So I'm really excited to answer them. So the first question, where is the best place to start for getting protein in every single day? So I would say try to aim for about 25 to 30 grams of protein each meal. Like that needs to be your main focus. And then you can help supplement with snacks or protein shake, whatever around that. But that way, you know, okay, I've got to eat breakfast. I've got to eat lunch. I've got to eat dinner. I'm going to be hitting, 25 to 30 grams of protein. That'll add up quick. And then with the rest, like I said, throw in a protein shake, throw in a snack. I would say I get a lot of questions when it comes to protein supplements, like what's the maximum grams per day I need to, not go over. I would say if you could keep it under 50 grams of some type of protein supplement a day, you'll be just fine. So the next one, I struggle with confidence. How do you stay confident all the time? I don't. Even though I'm at a really good place with my body and very proud of the success and the progress that I've made over time, I still have days where I get in my head. Being a fitness influencer, being on social media all day, every day, and then going to the gym and just seeing all these people that are in shape, like I still have my days where I get in my head and compare myself. So I think it's normal to have those days. But if you see somebody on Instagram or Facebook, whatever it is, and you're like, gosh, I want that body, and you find yourself comparing yourself, just know that they didn't come out of the womb that way. They had to work at it too. They maybe were in a spot that you were in. So look at it from a place of inspiration versus envy. Another thing I mentioned earlier, but I just want to reiterate, is celebrating those small wins. So you might have this big goal in your mind, but like appreciate the small wins that you're making in the progress. And that's just going to like feed into that positive nature that you want every day to help you with that confidence. Also too, daily affirmations are such a big one. I talk about this all the time. I do them for myself. I do them with my kids, but just saying those daily affirmations every single day, putting it on a Post-it note, putting it on your mirror, wherever you'll see it every day, or saying it in the car on the way to work is going to help create that confidence. The body follows the mind. Do you follow intermittent fasting? And if so, what's the best approach with this? I personally think it's a great tool, just not to do every single day. And here's why. I think that it's great because it puts your body in a state of autophagy. So autophagy is basically the body's recycling process of damaged cells, dead cells. It's really good to help kind of like reset your gut and body overall. Again, if you're doing that every single day, it's going to have a negative effect on your hormones. I think when you intermittent fast every single day, especially as females, our hormones look completely different than men. So it's going to cause a little bit more detriment to our hormones than it maybe would with a man. Also, too, think about the fact that when we stop eating at night, whether that's 6 or 7 p.m. for dinner, like we're going to have a good 11, 12 hours of not eating and fasting already. When you wake up, your cortisol levels are naturally the highest in the morning. So when you're not eating for another 5 to 6 hours on top of that, that's just going to naturally raise your cortisol levels even more, which again, as a female, we don't want to do. And we know with higher cortisol levels, we're naturally going to hold on to fat for longer periods of time. So just something we want to stay away from. Also, to another reason why you don't want to be doing this every single day is it's going to be hard to get the calories your body needs in that window. So say you're fasting every single day and you have an 8-hour window when you need to eat. If you're on a diet where you need to consume 2,000 calories, that's going to be really hard to fit all those calories in every single day in that 8-hour window. If you only have 8 hours in that window to eat the calories your body needs, so say 2,000 calories, that's a lot of food within 8 hours. And if you're doing that every single day, it's going to be hard to make sure you're getting all of that in, especially when it comes to adequate protein, carbs, fats, all those other micronutrients as well. I got this question a lot. So when and what do I eat for my workouts? Honestly, that depends the timing of the day. I think that you really have to listen to your body as well. So if you are the type of person and you like to work out early in the morning, I would ask yourself, okay, did I have enough carbs last night? Because if you had a salad with tuna on top, you probably need to eat some type of like simple carb, a banana, rice cake with peanut butter, dried fruit, whatever that may be, that's going to give you that quick release of energy that your body needs to have an effective workout. because it all comes from glycogen stores. So again, if you had a salad with tuna, that's not enough carbs, which turns into glycogen in the muscles for your body to use during your workouts. I always like to eat around 45 minutes to an hour before my workouts. I personally don't like having a full stomach of food, but I do need something in my stomach because I always feel that in my workout. And if I don't eat, I'm very much so fatigued, which is going to, result in not the best workout. So thoughts on doing Pilates or yoga only. So this whole episode, I've really talked about strength training and lifting weights. And I think that Pilates and yoga can be a great tool. I even do them every once in a while for mobility and just like inner core strength. But if that is your sole focus when you're working out every single day, it's going to be hard to get to that point where you're getting enough muscle mass to produce that like lean and defined toned look that a lot of the women I chat with in my DMs want. Listen, I know a lot was covered in this episode and there's so much more I want to say that I'll definitely say on future episodes. I'll do more Q&As. I actually saved all these questions because I want to answer more because again, I could talk about this for hours, but to wrap it all up, I would say keep it simple. It does not have to be hard or complicated. Focus on whole foods, right? Make sure that you're prioritizing nutrient-dense foods, lift weights, and get your steps in every single day. And then consistency is key. Set a plan, stick to it, and don't give up. But again, guys, I hope this was helpful. I really enjoyed being able to walk you guys through all these specific areas. Again, there's so much I could unpack, but let me know what you would like to discuss more around the topics we talked about today. So make sure that you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify, wherever you are listening today.